Hey everyone, it's Sunflower Spirit here, and I'm here to do a full moon reading for this full moon in Scorpio. And I know the full moon has passed, but we're still in the energy of it. We're still in heightened energy. Um, and so this is kind of taking a look at for the collective, like how to move forward from this. This is a pretty intense full moon every year, kind of pretty intense with the Scorpio energy. So let's just take a look and see what everyone needs to know, how we can move this energy forward. So let's see, what does everyone need to know for this full moon energy in Scorpio? What is the energy? We have Privileged Lady, number 12. So you could be dealing with a female or you could be a female. There's something where there's like a lot of luck and a lot of abundance, um, either with work or home life or both. What else do we have for this full moon energy, please? Full moon in Scorpio for everybody. What is the energy? What do we need to know? We have bad health, 31. So someone you know could be struggling with bad health. This could be your energy levels. It could be like depression, something like that. With this privileged lady, I feel like there's some sort of like opportunity to for like growth. So almost like an ego death possibly where something needs to die off, or you go through sort of like a dark night of the soul to get to the treasure, you know. What else do we have for everyone for this full moon? We have house. Yeah. So there's something going on with your soul where like you are kind of like coming into your own, but you have to go through a period of like pain or a period of like growth. Some people, you could be getting physically ill sometimes when we go through this stuff, it's kind of just that like natural process, that life and death process of, you know, completing cycles and learning things, the learning opportunities. We have gift also. So yeah, they're asking you to like find the gift in this, although it could be literal too. You could be receiving a gift from like possibly a privileged lady. It looks like, there is something going on with your soul where like maybe you've been struggling for a while, and trust me, like everyone's been struggling with this full moon. Well, not everyone, I guess I should say, but most people. And then we have despair. Yeah, so it's like there's good things coming. Like with a privileged lady and gift, I wouldn't be too worried about the bad health and despair. I think that like this is part of that cycle, that journey, like I was telling you. This is where Scorpio energy lives, this deep dark stuff. So it's kind of like pulling, the Scorpionic energy is kind of gonna pull from um the the subconscious, the really deep stuff, the stuff that needs to be like cleared away, the stuff that needs to come to the surface so that it can finally be like cleansed through the body, through the vessel. So I think that like with this bad health and this despair, there's something where you're learning about like, it's kind of like that blessing curse thing where you kind of have to go through this, but this is a soul process. You kind of have to get through the kind of like muck in the mire, like the lotus story. The lotus grows up through the mud. It has to go through all that muck and mud before it can, you know, be able to bloom and show its full beauty. And so this is kind of like what this is saying here, where like somebody's going through this really like dark night of the soul, or um this internal process, this process of like needing to heal something, needing to release something so that something better has an opportunity for you. So this is actually really beautiful energy. Let's pull some tarot though and see what the tarot says. And I'm gonna use my um, mystical moments because I was gonna use a different deck, but then they said no. Like I just kept looking over and seeing this deck, and they were like, use that deck. So, like, okay. Um, so let's take a look and see what this full moon energy is bringing everyone, how can we propel ourselves forward with this energy, in this energy? How do we kind of get ourselves to that surface level awareness of what needs to be released? We have Devil. So starting off with like some Saturn energy, which is also going to be maybe a more harsher energy. It's going to be more of like a dark night of the soul energy. Something does need to be released. Something has been toxic here. There's a lot of opportunity for growth, but sometimes when we have opportunities for growth, we have to really be aware of like which direction we are taking that growth. And so this is like a soul journey. As you can see by the spider webs in this is something that is like it has to deal with like life and death process. Again, it has to deal with your soul. It has to deal with your soul's journey. Something needs to be released. We have the moon. Yeah. Um, so an opportunity for a new beginning. You're closing something out. Some sort of cycle's completing, but also, there is something new here. Now with the moon, they're saying, be aware of things that could be illusions or things that you could, misperceive. Um, Sometimes with the moon, we have these decisions, and so we like to look at that like bright, shiny part, and so we forget that there's like, that darker part of the moon, and that we have to really like pay attention to those shadows. And so this is cautioning you that there could be some trickery, there could be like a trickster archetype within your energy field. So just be aware of that. But there is an opportunity. You need to turn your back on something, you need to leave something behind. So let's see what else we have for this full moon energy, please. What else do we have for full moon in Scorpio? We have Ten of Wands. Yeah, so I feel like also, with this decision, there's something you do definitely need to walk away from. We've gotten that message several times where there's some sort of healing happening, but in order to complete the full cycle, something needs to be released, something needs to be walked away from. And so with this Ten of Wands, I feel like there's been a burden. There's been like, you could be feeling burned out. You could be feeling like depressed, like totally, utterly like, you know, lacking energy. And so they're saying that you need to really like find your energy by staying present in the moment. You also need to focus on the small things. Don't take on too much more than you can hold. Like, everybody wants to. You see, she has this bouquet of flowers that she's picking, and she's going to keep picking them, but they're kind of creating like this really big burden on her back. And so it's sometimes like maybe there's a different way, maybe looking at things slightly differently. Maybe, you don't need to pick all these flowers. Maybe there's another thing you could do. Like maybe you could just water the flowers or something, and then that would release the burden of it. But I feel like I also feel like too with this image here, with this imagery, you're trying to make something better, but you're only using surface level because when we cut the flowers, they die. They die right away because they need the earth and they need the soil and they need to be watered to live. And when they're cut off from those roots, so you're doing something right now where you're trying to make yourself feel better with this burnout, with this burden, whatever this is, and you're really just making it worse because you're not only burdening yourself more, but you're also going to have like this sort of death cycle with these flowers. You're going to have something um, be more challenging, be harder for you with this. What else do we have for everyone for this full moon in Scorpio, please? Oh my gosh. We have the Queen of Cups. So Queen of Cups is talking about self-care, really recognizing like where your personal power lies within your emotional states. How do you have control over those emotions? How do you manage, the internal emotions? This for me would actually be Scorpio energy, just because with the queens are always like internalizing everything. They have that like inner process, that inner peace process or whatever. So it's finding your power within your emotions. And also there's something you need to release here. So I'm wondering if you almost need to release some sort of emotions that aren't serving you right now. We also had this one come out with that one of the Seven of Wands. And so this is kind of like where the illusions lie. So with the Seven of Wands, I feel like you're like working really hard. You're trying to overcome these obstacles, which is, always a noble thing to do. However, what I'm seeing with the Seven of Wands is that this is where that trickster archetype energy comes in. This trickster energy is here. So, what is it? Kind of like this Ten of Wands, where it's like, you think you're trying to do something to help you feel better, but it's really just like putting band-aids on something that really needs like surgery. You know what I mean? And so with this Seven of Wands energy, it's like, keep fighting the good fight, but make sure that like whatever it is that you're fighting for, it's like aligned with your values, and that you're not doing something that's going to just create more stress in the long term or short term. What else do we have for everyone for this full moon? Three of Swords. Ouch. So heartbreak, pain, shame, rage, anger. Why? Because you're not, because what I just said, you're putting a band-aid on something that needs like a greater fix. You need something that's like more lasting. You need a laster. You need a more lasting fix for this. And so that's why it's causing pain. That's why it's creating heartache, because I feel like instead of like really assessing the situation, you're just kind of in survival mode, where you're just like, well, I just feel bad, so I just want to feel better. And so you're just trying all these little things that may have worked in the past, but that was before you kind of had that awakening. That was before you knew yourself. That was before you knew what your values were. And so now it's not working, because when you kind of have to hold yourself to a higher standard when you have these like spiritual awakenings and stuff, because you know more. Like I always talk to you guys about how you can't unknow the things that you learn. And so sometimes that creates obstacles for us, right? Because if you have information that you can't unknow, then you have to do something with that information, or it's going to cause pain and heartbreak. Going to cause this burden. What else do we have for everyone for this full moon in Scorpio, please? We have Eight of Cups. Again, just repeating messages now. So, needing to walk away, excuse me, needing to walk away from something here. There's a lot of luck in walking away. In fact, there's also like an opportunity. I see a connection, possibly like a romantic connection here. A lot of luck with this. A lot of healing is happening from walking away from whatever this is. I feel like you're gaining your personal empowerment with this, but something needs to be released, because you're holding on to something that's still a little bit toxic, something that's like a vice. It's like an obsession. It's like something that you know is bad for you, but you're still going to do it anyway. Why? Because it gives you that, you know, little tiny relief, that momentary relief. And they're asking you to look at the bigger picture, like what gives you more relief, what will give you longer lasting relief. And so that's why you need to walk away from something. They're offering you luck, and they're offering you healing and connection with this. I mean, that's a pretty good deal, I would say. What else do we have for everyone for this full moon? We have Four of Swords, needing to take time for yourself. Again, that self-care. Take time to rest. You've been really hitting it hard with this Seven of Wands. I feel like you've just been like going, 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 because you have this decision to make. You want to complete this cycle, and you want a new opportunity here. But again, it's like there's something that's tricky in this energy. Something is giving you illusions for this energy. The thing that's giving you illusions, I feel like, could be about your stability, the things that actually fulfill you, and the things that are actually good for you. I feel like that those are the things that are really going to be, at the forefront with this. And so that's why we have this healing energy. They're asking you to really take care of yourself, really get enough sleep, get enough, basic needs, get enough, eating right, water, all that kind of stuff. It's like basic needs. Really pay attention to that. They're offering you luck again. I keep getting that message. They're offering you luck. So, for somebody, that's very specific, but well, kind of. What else do we have for everyone, please? We have King of Swords. Okay. And so there's something with communication. I feel like maybe too there's a burden, and there's been stress, and there's been heartache and pain and shame with communication. And so but they're calling you to really like figure out how you can express yourself. And so that's why they're asking you to think about it with this. There's an opportunity for a new beginning here once again. Um, Also communicating something about your luck, your healing, your connections with other people, um, what it is that has been bothering you, what it is that has been burdening you recently. They're asking you to seek out, like a friend or connection, somebody where you can kind of get it out of your system and really figure out how to go about this. They're saying that would help. We have death on the back. Death is a Scorpio card. And that's kind of like what the energy has been this whole reading is like there's something, death is like an opportunity to release something, to let something die in a sense, so that you can create something new out of it. It's kind of like death is like the life and death process, the rebirth process. It's kind of like giving an opportunity for something to die out that hasn't been serving you so that you do have room in your life for something that will serve you better. And so this is showing me a lot of luck here, but you got to be a little bit vulnerable. They're saying you got to be vulnerable with this. What do we have underneath? We have the hangman. Yeah, because I feel like you haven't really, maybe you've been on a pause, maybe you're not sure which direction to take, and so I feel like you really haven't been taking direction, which is fine. But they're saying, like you, again, with this decision, and also making sure that you're not, falling prey to those illusions. And the trickster energy can be helpful too. Sometimes the trickster energy helps us, like, get out of our shadow. It helps us recognize when we're having those defense mechanisms, when we are doing things that are just protecting our ego and not really supporting the situation or supporting ourselves. So the trickster energy isn't all bad, but it is definitely something to think about, and especially for you, it could be different, like how it's presenting in your life. Um, wow, that's that was a lot. Okay, I want to pull a few more, and then we will wrap this up for you. So we're gonna pull some Osho Zen Tarot and see if there's like really anything else that helps you propel you. I feel like it's been a pretty straightforward message. But let's just see if there's anything else that comes out that can help you kind of on this healing process. Because for whoever this is a healing process. This is really the energy. This happens, I feel like, every year. And so if you've been like really exhausted and stuff, it's because all this is going underneath the surface and you're being called to kind of like really come out of it. It's kind of like that, the spring into summer where we're trying to gain new life. We're trying to really grow these things that haven't really taken root yet. And so we're really trying to nurture them so that they can grow into big trees in the summer. So beautiful energy. Love it. It's harsh though. It's been harsh. Okay, so what else does everyone need to know for this full moon energy, please? We have new vision. So yeah, they are saying this is a spiritual awakening. There's something happening here where you are transforming. You're transforming into something different. Maybe almost like shapeshifter energy I'm getting. Like, so maybe somebody is a shapeshifter. If you are, then that trickster energy, it could be with your ego. It could be yourself with your ego. Um, but really like a transformative energy where this is like all new territory for you. So it could be a little scary, but it's definitely healing energy. And I feel like you're also coming out of a place where like maybe it was so really uncomfortable. Now you're going to have more freedom and you're going to have less of that discomfort. What else do we have? We have ordinariness. So they're saying make sure to ground yourself, make sure to like focus on the things that make you happy, focus on the small things. Um really being, really making sure to like keep working at things, have that perseverance with the eight here. Eights are about perseverance, they're about having that courage to like go the extra mile, to go to do what you need to do to get it done. um and with this new vision, I feel like, you're transforming and they're saying just stay the course. You're almost there. And it's going to be so abundant, so fruitful. And you'll be able to have the fruits. You'll be able to see the fruits of your labor soon. What else do we have for everyone? We have guilt. 8. So you've been feeling stuck. Well, I think maybe you might feel guilty too. And this is part of like, so if you've experienced trauma in your life, sometimes when we have these healings or spiritual awakenings or whatever you want to call them, or, growing our awareness, getting more awareness, gaining more awareness, sometimes we feel shame, and that's because that's a trauma response. A lot of times, like, the trauma is internalized, and so you don't feel like you're allowed to feel good. And there's actually like Matt Kahn talks about this a lot, and he says it's funny. He said that he was working with and maybe I shared this last time, I don't know, but he was working with patients in hospice care, and he once said to somebody said, "I'm just so sick of feeling sick," and he said to them, and he meant it seriously, not like in a mocking way or anything. He said, "Well, you're doing it 100% correctly." And the person said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, as far, if we took the criteria for somebody who's totally ill, you would meet all that criteria. And so you're just doing it well." And so his point is like, um, the person was like, "Oh, yeah." But his point was like, you know, we have to um, we have to focus on what we do well. And because the person said back to him, the person said, "Well, I don't want to feel good until I feel better." And Matt Kahn said, "That's why you're in hell right now." Because his point is that, like, we create with our thoughts, like, how we feel about things and how we do, and we don't focus enough on the positive. So I feel like, and so that's something that happens with trauma. When you've experienced trauma, you're so used to having that negative, thought reel in your head that says that. And so with this guilt, you're feeling guilty, you're feeling ashamed. Why? Because you actually are starting to feel good. You're going to feel better, and we can see with this transformation, we can see with this grounding, we can see with this perseverance that you are going to feel better, that it's just around the corner if you haven't felt it. So this is kind of like the Eight of Swords energy where you feel stuck, but it's really just you're trapped in your mind because you feel like you don't deserve it. And so, whatever it is you're going through right now, let's just Matt Con it and say you are doing it 100% correctly. You're doing everything as you should. Awesome job. You're nailing it. We have flowering on the back. Yeah. This is kind of like the lotus thing that I was talking about. There's something happening here. This is like Venus energy too. I'm getting Venus energy. So this is like that divine feminine love. So you need to like wrap yourself in that divine feminine love right now. You're doing a great job. Like, this is not easy stuff. This whole reading that I just did, this is really hard. This is really hard stuff. It's really scary. It's really exhausting. And there's not a lot of people. We don't really talk about it in society. We don't really like give any credit for it. So let me give you credit for this, because whoever's doing this, you're doing the work, and it's hard work, and you are working on healing. Yeah, working on healing. So that was such a beautiful message. I know it's been harsher energy, but it looks like we're just about ready to let this harshness go, to let this, deep dark stuff go, and we're gonna come out flowering in abundance. So this is amazing. I hope you guys have enjoyed the full moon, and I hope moving forward that you can kind of use this energy to propel future healing. Thank you guys for stopping by today.